Today's subject matter may be the most difficult to explain, but let me see if I can do it. It's going to be, among others, inter alia, Black infantilism, the infantilized treatment of the African American Black voter by this radical left, progressive, whatever these people are, but these labels, we'll get to that in a moment. And specifically how people like Fannie Willis and the worst, Tiffany Henyard, are going to be kind of kept out. They're going to be kind of brushed underneath, under the carpet, so to speak, so that people won't say, hey, Black woman, corrupt, stupid, get rid of her. Get rid of her. Because in my history, and maybe I just don't know this, but from what I have seen, there is nobody who is, to me, as comically horrifying as Tiffany Henyard, who is the soon-to-be indicted or removed or whatever mayor of this town. And how they're shocked. Nobody will talk about this. And she might be, not only is she corrupt and immature, but she speaks the most embarrassing gibberish you've ever heard. And nobody wants to address this. You can talk about American patois. We talk about the Irish. The Irish sometimes will laugh hysterically over how difficult sometimes it is for them to even understand each other. Tiffany Henyard speaks something from, I don't even know what it is. I have no idea. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how she's just going to be, get rid of her. Get her off the stage now. Not now. We don't need her now. She's an embarrassment now. Let her go now. Just get rid of her. Well, I don't want to get rid of her quite yet. No. Get rid of her. And how she has victimized and stolen from her own Black constituency. Oh, no. That destroys the narrative. See, because it's Donald Trump and MAGA and white nationalism and all that kind of crap, which supposedly does it. We'll talk about that. Then, a little bit about how Americans have absolutely no idea still about Marxism, socialism, communism, and they're saying Venezuela, and they have no earthly idea of Venezuela or Maduro or what he's saying. They have not a clue. Americans think that, well, if it's bad, it's, communism, right? He's a communist. Oh, they want to make this Venezuela. No. Try doing a welfare state in communist China. Try it. Try doing a giveaway program in China. And when you tell people that, they say, what? Because Americans don't know anything. Because we stopped having civics years ago. We don't know the rudiments, but we love to throw words around. So sit tight, get ready. This is going to be perhaps the most nuanced and the most instructional of any of our more recent conversations. But first, this word from our sponsor. There's a revolution happening right now above our heads. It's about to make silver more precious than ever. The sun's power is taking over the world. It's growing so fast, it'll be the biggest source of electricity by the 2030s. Solar. Now, here's the kicker. Every single solar panel needs silver to work. We're talking about a silver paste web in every panel, turning sunlight into power. Smart investors are already making their move, and that's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. With a silver IRA, you can surf this incredible wave of growth. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House or what Wall Street does. Solar power is unstoppable, and silver is its secret weapon. As the world goes green, your retirement could be going sterling silver. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers in 2024. Visit LionelNationGold.com. You may get up to 10 free brand new 1-ounce silver Trump coins. Listen to that. Or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with every qualifying IRA. That's LionelNationGold.com. Remember, there's always a risk of investment. and there's no guarantee of any kind. Yesterday, when Kamala Harris, Kamala, was speaking, everybody just jumped on it, knowing what she was saying was wrong. And by the way, that's probably the best bet. She's probably wrong. You're right about that. But they didn't understand why she was wrong. How do I say that? They knew it was wrong. And Americans, now remember today's nuance, I'm just going to warn you, we're going to go from one topic to the next, back and forth. So get ready. But I want to talk about yesterday. They have this idea that communists are bad, but not that they're bad, they're evil. That to be a communist, you have to shut down free speech. That to be a communist, you must be authoritarian. To be a communist, you must throw people in prison. To be a communist, you have to have gulags and you have to have camps. That part and parcel of Marxist ideology is locking people up, quashing free speech, destroying, part and parcel. They don't know anything about it. They just know it's another word for totalitarian. Now, there are totalitarian countries, and there are, for example, there are places where communism is theoretically the last thing they want to do, especially the last thing they want to have, especially during years of CIA intervention when we would go into different stories again, Guatemala and Dominican Republic and all that stuff too. But that's what Americans think. Americans say that communism, and I am a staunch, when I say I am anti-communist, I'm a non-communist. If we were in a poor society, it might work. And communism, if you think about it, is the ultimate level of perfection. If you talk about the ideology of the people who are involved in it, there's socialism, and then when you get to that level where nobody really needs to work or do anything, everything's provided for, communism is this utopian, even though parties are called communist. Forget trying to explain this, because as I said, nobody understands it. Nobody grasps it. When you show people Maduro in Venezuela, people will say, aha, it's like Castro. Castro was just, oh my God. But let me just be very, very careful. Let me be very careful. We'll get to Castro in a moment. Let me stick with this. Have you heard a Maduro speech? Have you? Have you heard an Orban speech? They're saying that Tucker is a commie because is Orban, and because we use this word. And Americans, specifically the right, Republicans, love this. They just say commie and they go crazy. Berserk. Communist? Who's a communist? We hate communists. Yes, my God, we're gonna get to the okay, we're gonna get to the bottom of that one. And they just, it's the craziest thing in the world. Okay, recently in a speech, you'll love this. Maduro speaking, and he said, "How dare you say that we have false elections? When in 2020 they stole the election from President Trump, and the UN didn't go there." The UN and various poll watching groups didn't go there. Jimmy Carter and his group said that Venezuela had an absolutely perfect, a fine election. That doesn't matter because Jimmy Carter, because people want to believe, and that's one thing. When you're an American, you just make up whatever you want. I don't like him. I don't like him. I like him. I don't like him. And you don't really know why. Zach says, communism has killed more people than Nazis. Literally, bro. Facts. Not communism. Again, I hate to say this. It is not necessary in communism to kill people. It is necessary to have a planned economy, but you do not have to kill people. You could have a communist society, nobody's killed. You actually could have a communist society with freedom of speech. You actually, literally, bro, could have that. The two, this is an economic policy. The two have nothing to do with each other. Some of the most authoritative. If you want to see some of the worst places ever in Haiti, that wasn't communism, anything but. That was capitalism. Oh my God. Do you think Haiti? Would you want to live there? Well, that's not capital. That's not communist. So again, this word is, we look at communism as meaning evil, and in many respects it is, but that's not what communism is. Raul says, Guatemala will soon be Guatemala. Okay, be careful with this. Now, thank you for that. Let me move on. This is the most important thing in the world. What is the most frightening of anything you heard yesterday, and what should scare you? And we're going to get to the race thing in a moment. We're going to get to Tiffany, but let me start off with this. The most important thing in the world is that she has no idea what she's saying. I am starting to believe that she has some type of earpiece to prompt her, not to feed her lines, because that's a very dangerous thing. But she was reading incorrectly. She was saying hospitality came out hospitality. Gouging was gauging. She's just reading this. She has no idea what she is saying. She wants to go in, ultimately, she doesn't know this, and go into a place called, I don't know, let's say Mendham, New Jersey, Rye, New York, really fancy. I mean, really. And go in and say, I want to put mandatory, I want to put public housing there. Low income housing there. 300 units, 400 units, right in the middle of this white or affluent or upscale or big acreage, right in the middle. I want to cause a class fissure, a class revolution before your very eyes, right there. And then there'll be this, and they will pick up and they'll say, I'm getting the hell out of here. If you put in the middle of a place low-income housing, property, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. This is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to go into Greenwich. They're going to go into, I'm trying to think of the name, Calabasas, and La Jolla, just places where you would think, what? Absolute, beautiful, pristine mansion, big acreage right there. Not because this isn't communism. Try going to China. Tell Xi Jinping that you want to do welfare giveaway. Good luck with that one. He say, I beg your pardon? Yeah, I want you just to give away. Excuse me. What? Give away? No. We're not going to give away anything. What are you talking about? Well, you're communist, right? Yeah. We'll give it away. That's not what communism is. We're not going to give things away. You're not going to give away. No. What do you mean? No. People just have, well, isn't that what you do? No, that's not what we do. No, that's not communism. So remember, Americans don't know anything about it. They say, this is Venezuela. What do you know about Venezuela? I don't know. I have no idea. Do you know why Venezuelans? Do you know what Chavez did? But the poor, about oil rich, about corruption, no. You just think it's all socialism and communism. I get people don't know anything. Americans don't know anything. Throw them a map, say, here, where's Venezuela? Roughly here. I don't know. Who are the Bolivarians? What are they? They don't know. One day they came in and they said, okay, ask about neoliberalism. They couldn't tell you. Oh my God. And they love people like, Christopher Hitchens. Well, he's a socialist. Big time. What? Oh, yeah. Do you think that the idea of, they use words, it goes back to like Rocky and Bullwinkle. They have this idea that some kind of a Stalin, I don't know. So anyway, do me a favor. She is not a communist. She is not a socialist. She is saying things that is a part of a DEI world, which basically is, we have no interest in raising black people anywhere. We want to destroy the system status quo. Edie says, for those who want the real deal, please read the Gulag Archipelago. It's challenging reading. It's challenging, but that was a little different, though. This was during Stalin. This is a whole thing, too. Read about any kind of an imprisonment. Remember, that's a different story. That's a different story. It's very good reading, but that's a different story. Okay, stop for a second. Now, stop. Now, black people. Oh, I love this. This is a topic we don't talk about in this country. We treat black voters, black citizens like children. We pat them on the head and we hope to God they don't figure out what's happening to them. The last thing in the world, the last thing that Kamala wants is there to be real, honest to God equality, not equity, equality. It's the last thing she wants. She has this speech. We played it last night. I can't even listen to it. We all don't start from the same place. You have to lift people up. You have to give people an advantage so that they end up in the same place. But I don't want them to end up in the same place. If there's one thing that communism, socialism, a lot of stuff gets wrong, is the idea that it misses sometimes the beauty and the brutality of societal Darwinism. It is cutthroat. It is cutthroat. I've talked to socialists before. I've talked to them so many times. And Marxists, and they always say the same thing. If I work at a McDonald's or a hamburger joint, and I don't own the company, my labor is not credited. The owner makes all the money, and I'm just there. And I'm just there. I get nothing from my Well, why don't you start your own business? Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. What? Raul says Chappelle bought the land by his house to stop low-income housing development. Well, he knows better than anybody else, if that's true, and I'm sure it is. So let me go back, but thank you, Raul. But let me tell you what they do. This is what they say. It's like, what? You work for all these years and you don't own anything? Yeah, I know. I get a living, I get a wage. If I don't like it, I go someplace else. Oh, no, you can't do that. What do you mean? No, because the owner is benefiting from your work. No, you don't understand. The owner, I know what you're saying. The owner is benefiting from my work and I don't get any from my work. Okay, fine. So what? I mean, I for the life of me, I've heard this before. I don't understand anything. Pure classic socialism, not communism. Remember, communism is that ideal. They say if all is perfectly situated, you're not going to need socialism. That's the craziest thing. Anyway, if we lived in poor countries, if we were in some poor country with pestilence and landslides and there was no transportation and the water system, believe me, we want some kind of socialist planned government. Believe me, you'd want it too. if we're talking about just bare subsistence, if we want to just live, if we want to make sure that water is clean and there's no dysentery, believe me, nobody's talking about, no, capitalism doesn't work that way. I know Milton Friedman would disagree, but okay. That notwithstanding. Now let's talk about Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard and Fannie Willis. But Tiffany Henyard, number one. Tiffany Henyard is a black woman who is as corrupt as a day is long, who has no sense of right or wrong. She is a thief. She is a gangster. Absolutely the worst of the worst of the worst. And they want her kept hidden. They want her kept hidden. Zach says, how is Kamala's rhetoric not ideological subversion in whole? Communism against our way of life. Again, it's not communism. You don't know what communism is. That's not communism. You're using communism as a word for like evil or or something else. I mean, that's not communism. She's not talking about this. Protecting price gouging. Economists are saying, what is price gouging? It's not communism. Communists would say, what is she talking about? If there are such a thing. Lose that word. I'll give you a very simple rule. If you use the word communism in a sentence, it's wrong. It's not communism. That's not what it is. Brad Oplin says, in music, one plays by ear or reads. They are different skills. In composition, one improvises or orchestrates. Again, they are different skills. Kamala can read, maybe better than Trump, but she cannot compose. Well, I think you're correct about that. And Brad, I think you're right about that. But remember, she's coming across as something else. Tiffany Henyard, by the way, is so interesting to me because she speaks a language which is called American gibberish. It's one of my favorites. And it is embarrassing. And they want her out of the way. Let her speak. Say, huh? She speaks a language nobody understands. It is, I don't even know what it is. If linguists came, I know the joke you're going to do with that one. If they came in and listened and said, what is that? You see, in every other, in Europe, they love to talk about accents. Geordie, Newcastle is my favorite. One of my favorites, I should say. I love the indecipherable Irish, Scottish sometimes. You absolutely, they love it. They speak to it. They talk about it. But we do not talk about an urban or African American or black patois or lingo or English or version. We don't talk about that because that's called, you got it, racist. So she is uneducated, indecipherable, a child, and they want her out of the way. That's why she's disappeared. Watch what they do. They brought in Lori Lightfoot, who's very good, though, speaks very clearly. Not everybody, very, very clearly. And they want this out. They don't want there to be any kind of confusion. It's a very, very strange thing. Fannie Willis, absolutely second in terms of corrupt and stupid. A woman entitled, black woman happens to be, who held one of the most important cases about Trump, the racketeering case. And she is she's a little bit more articulate, but corrupt and lost everything because she lied over her boyfriend, lied because of this arrogance. Lied through an arrogance. I'm telling you, I see in my, you think I'm kidding, in watching enough vest camera police instances with drivers, this idea of get away from me. I'm not showing you anything. Hey, bro, literally, I'm here. I'm on the phone. I'm calling my mother. Get out of here. That's Fanny. It's like, who do you think you are asking me questions like this? Crypto Domini says, thanks, Uncle Lenny. You have got to be the only one pointing out these looks at these scumbags. Well, thank you for that. That's a very nice thing to say. But that's Fanny. And they want her out. Why? Because we don't want people to make any kind of a black woman in power. Because race is a funny thing. I've never seen anything like it. New York Post cover, communism, and she's pissed. It's not communism, but that's okay. Okay, but Marxist playbook. No, Marxist is about class. Read about Marxism. What is the goal? Zach, focus on spending some time listening to lectures from Marxist or socialist leaders, theologians, logicians, practitioners. Listen to what it says. You can't sit back in an armchair and say, okay, how about, can we call it an infection? No, it's not an infection. It's near it. Okay. Is it a bacteria? No, it's not viral. Okay. Can we call it? It's like, what are you doing? I'm just naming things about other words for kinds of sick. Okay, inflammation. It's not an inflammation. Cancer? No. What are you doing? I'm just naming things. These are names that I know. Antibiotics? No, that's a medication. Okay, I'm going to throw out another one. How about depression? No. Okay. Marxism then? No. Leninism? No. Let me see what else. Socialism? Not socialism. Okay, what else words do I know? Throw out neoliberalism and they'll look at you. I don't know what that one is. That's kind of what we do. Laissez-faire. What? I don't know those. I just know these things. Okay, is it jazz? It's not jazz. Okay, is it rock? It's not rock. Country? Jesus. So I only know these names. I'm going to throw out, I'm not going to bother learning what these musical styles are. Baroque, classical, chamber music. No, I don't learn that. I've got 4 food groups, capital, and nobody talks about capital. And by the way, when Haiti, which is at the absolute, it has been at the dregs, at the absolute lowest point of civilization, to people say, well, there's capitalism for you. I think, oh, no, that's not capitalism. Well, it's not, sure as hell isn't socialism. Well, what do you call that? Well, we don't associate capitalism with that. Well, why do you associate socialism with something else? Well, because that's what we do. Because we don't know anything in this country. We don't go to school. We haven't had civics in 30, 40 years. We don't study anything. We don't know anything about history. We don't know anything about NATO. We talk about Ukraine and don't even know the notion of what NATO is. We have no idea. Edie says, any difference between the two isms? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival says, we have the same corruption in Canada, but it's wrapped in nice, well-to-do politicians. Idiots gobble it up and reelect these crooks. I think you're onto something there. We can again. Why is there this? Not you, but Americans love that the way Michael, Eric, whatever, Dyson loves the word racism. Zach says, deep state puppet. Simply, why do you want to give this a name? Why do you want to give this name? And I love you, Zach. Why is this name so important to you? Why? Why is it? Why? Why? Hey, did you hear about Jerry? What happened to Jeremy? Well, he's I think he's using prescription medication too much. Is he an addict? I don't know if he's an addict, but we got to help him. Wait a minute. Or is he an overuser? Does he abuse? Look, I don't know. We got to help him. Oh, wait a minute. Is it would you call it an addiction, or is it just an obsession? What are you doing? We got to help this guy. No, I got to get the definition correct. I got to get the definition. Is that a forest fire or a brush fire? Would you call that a 3-alarm? We're going to put the fire out. Yeah, but would you call it what is with this? I've never seen people there say, you're not going to take the way. It took me this long to learn the word communism, and I am not going to give up on it. And I'm not going to learn what it is, and I don't care who's coming. I'm not going to research. I've got right here the entire world before me. I could just do in one click of a couple of keystrokes how many countries are socialist versus communist versus what is the difference? No interest. None. I deal with it all the time. I can't tell you. You see it a lot of times with food in particular. Oh, yeah. The other day, somebody said, if I ask people, what's the number one source of potassium? You know what they all say? Bananas. I don't know where this comes from. Number one. Well, there's potassium everywhere. Oh, I didn't say that. What do you mean the number one source? You mean something where there's a lot of potassium per serving? Because there's potassium everywhere. That's not what I mean. Well, what do you mean? And people will say, bananas. Eat bananas. That's potassium. You want calcium? You need calcium? You need calcium? Dairy. Why? That's all I know. I just know dairy. Protein? Meat. I just know this. Are you sure about that? Yeah, that's the only place to get protein? Well, no, I don't know. Do you want to research this? No. I have this little bag of sayings and expressions that I use, and I'm not going to do it. Atheism. You're an atheist. What does that mean? Is a Buddhist an atheist? Oh, he most certainly is. What? Women? What? He doesn't believe in God? No. Or without. Are you illiterate? No, I just don't speak French. Wow. If you don't speak French, you're illiterate. No, I speak something else. Do you see where we are? How do you expect people to vote for her? Well, we didn't even know what the hell to call this. She gave you things that were so ridiculous. And we're talking about, well, is it communism? No. What is price gouging? Who determines what this is? When you give $2,500 or $25,000 off of the price of a new house, they're going to raise the price by $25,000. I mean, that's not communism. It's just economics, maybe. Helen Hunt's forehead says, a free communist society doesn't work because it requires every single person to willingly go along with it. If one person chooses not to share the fruit of their labor, the whole thing collapses. Well, no, it doesn't, because if it's done against your will. Income tax will work whether you want to cooperate or not. It doesn't. Now, remember, we're getting into this. It's very nice that we're having a civics class, but it has nothing to do with what she said. The plan has nothing to do with communism. Nothing. It's not communist. They gave her this thing to read. She's treating black people who sit behind her like children because they're like this. Yay! And we're going to give you 3 million new houses. Yay! Do we get it? Well, yeah, sort of. No, you're not. You know who's getting it, you idiot? The illegal aliens. You're a schmuck. That's what you are. Here comes Zach again. Well, I love you, bro, but you're not getting my Bud Light. Haha. I don't even buy it anymore. Does anybody Whatever happened to Dylan Mulvaney, or whatever happened with that? What with that nonsense? Oh, I got to tell you this story. Listen to this one, Zach. You're going to love this one. I got to read this one to you. This story, this just kills me. Oh my God. And my friends in the business do not want to hear anything about this. They do not like this story. Here we go. Look at this. For more than a century, Americans have been turning to a trusted and reliable source for local news, the radio. Now the terrestrial broadcasts are facing an existential threat as listeners and advertising dollars rapidly shift, forcing stations to slash staff and even sign off the air for good. This week, one of the nation's biggest news radio outlets, WCBS's 880, announced it would sign off at the end of the month, ending a near 6-decade run as a local news source in the 5 boroughs and beyond. The station's parent company, Odyssey, blamed the challenges facing the news business for the decision. Okay. New York has always been proudly unique in supporting 2 all-news stations, but the news business has gone through significant changes. Okay. Now, this is an example, yet again, of how everything is changing drastically. It's not communism or anything like that. It's called things change. The end of disco, the end of, put it this way, newspapers took a hit when radio came in. And what you're seeing right now is more important than anything some guy sitting in a news booth sounding like John Cameron Swayze can do. Kevin says, by avoiding labels on your recommendations, I found I have to think harder and get a deeper understanding of what people are actually saying. Well, yeah, thank you. And our friend Christian Delorme says, Disney is getting rid quietly of all DEI or activist producers and writers. They finally realize what the bottom line is. Indeed. And that, by the way, is part of this little magical world that Kamala is a part of, where she has no earthly idea as to what she's talking about. They're telling her, you're going to do this. Okay. You're going to do this. Okay. Remember, somebody's got to sit there and say, Kamala, excuse me, get out of the way. Hey, black folks behind you, see this woman here? Yeah, she's playing you like a chump. The money's going to go to the illegals, not you. Do you see what's happening? I've got a video coming up, and I want you to pay attention to this. See, as they try to push the Henyards out of the way and the Fanny. Where's Cat Williams? They told him, you will be a grease spot on the highway if you don't shut up. You, Monique, and everybody. You're not going to get in the way of us right now. And right now, there is a battleground. And Trump has a chance to go after Black America. Look at what's going on right now. This is what's happening. This woman, I guarantee you, if Tiffany Henyard were a guy named Rusty Johnson versus Russell Johnson, who played the professor, but if Rusty Johnson, some redheaded guy from Dolton, Illinois, he would be under the prison. But they gave this woman every chance she had because she's black, because they pat black people on the head in this very patronizing view. But here's the best part. They don't care about you. See, illegals, they don't care about you in the least. All you are is a subject of conversation, like the Eric Dysons who want to say, if you don't say Kamala versus Kamala, you're a racist. You're a white nationalist. And there's this cottage industry of these people who only talk about race. And Black America has been apparently duped for the longest time. They said, these folks are not involved in you. They're making millions. They don't care about you. What do you think your problem is? You don't want to talk about it. Helen Hunt's forehead says, Soviet communism is evil. Hippie communism doesn't work. Both are bad, though admittedly not the same. I love you, Lionel, even if I don't always agree. I didn't say communism's good. People are becoming intransigent because they're saying, I said this is communism, and that's what it is, and that's what I'm going to call it. And I don't want to hear anything about these definitions on your part. I call it communism. I don't want to hear what real communism is. I don't want to hear about it. It doesn't make any difference to me. I don't care about that. That's what I call it. I don't care. I'm just going to say things. I am not going to say, maybe that is the wrong word. Maybe I'm saying to myself, whatever you do, it's horrible. It's a welfare state. They're giving out. It's ridiculous. They're going to deliberately hand this to these people. That's not communism. They say, excuse me, yes. Okay, we're going to do Venezuelan-born communism. Yeah, well, whatever you call it. Okay, if your name begins from G to M, you get the free land and you don't. Doesn't work like that. This is potentially a race-based, focused misapplication of free stuff. That's not socialism. Planned economy, government owns some. Not that they own anything. This is not shared economy, planned economy, to each according to his means and all that. No. This is you get this. Illegals, you get this. You get the most. Illegals get the most. And don't be surprised if every illegal in this country, every illegal somehow signs some voting proxy or something. What black folks get on CNN is a bunch of people like Mayor Eric Michael Dyson, whatever his name is, who sits there and talks about what racism is or isn't. That's it. Lip service only. Zero. It is so incredible. Does anybody really want to talk? Do you want to talk about this? Do you think Kamala really wants to talk about people starting off and wait a minute? How about a black person born in this country and you're going to give somebody named Pedro and his whatever from his family from Venezuela? You're going to say, wait a minute, he just got here? I'm a third generation American. I'm black. Well, no, we're going to do all that starting equally now. Well, what about me? Well, you've had your chance. These people vote. That's where we're going. They vote. Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival says, sorry to disrupt the stream. Why are the white middle class mononuclear family such a threat to the government and power? You know, that's a fantastic story. And that's a wonderful story. And that might be the $1 million question. Why don't you want to go with anybody who represents your most productive? Well, because that would not be good. What duty does the government have to correct historical inequity? What do we do? What do we do? Do you really want to get into this? No. How much of what has occurred, how much of what Black America suffers from today, and we'll talk about this exceedingly incorrect and unfair. You can't talk about Black America. Which Black America? Where? What? We all think we know what that means, but let's just, for lack of a better read, just stick with that story. Okay. How much has to do with historic racism? How much has to do with internal societal makeup? When Daniel Patrick Moynihan talked about the level of illegitimacy and matricentric, the collapse of the Black families, the fatherless, and all of this jazz, they almost ran him out of town. Don't you ever say that. Edie says, Mr. L, you forgot my last chat. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hang on a minute. Let me get Edie. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't paying attention. Hang on a minute. Is Edie here? Edie says, oh, here in Pennsylvania, the isms are used interchangeably. Communism and socialism, it seems labels are made for what is not understood. Oh, absolutely. I can't understand why there's this love affair with these words. Thank you, Edie. I don't understand it. Doesn't make any difference to me. But the first question I want to do is, if I'm the societal minister, excuse me, may we look at this group? Yes. Okay. How many of everybody, of every denomination you can, whatever you want to come up with, African American, Latino American, gay American, whatever it is, how many have intact familial units? Mother, father, nuclear family, same house, where brothers, I mean, we all have, we have we've all grown up with people who've stepbrothers, but the idea of baby mama, baby daddy, all that, that's a new phenomenon. How many how many classes, how many groups, how many demographics share that? Of the percentage, how many people have an inordinate number of people in the criminal justice system? How many people have, how many, what is the absenteeism rate? Absenteeism. Free school, right? Public school, absenteeism rates. You want to go through this? You want to go through this? Or you want to talk about communism? Okay. Now, anybody want to look at the Asian community? No. Oh, come on, let's do it. No. They came here. I know. Didn't speak a word. I know. How many are in school? Oh my God. How many have non, what am I trying to say? How many have non, what am I trying to say? Broken, matricentric percentage of school attendance. Unbelievable. We talk a lot about different groups of people here as well, especially what's going on in the Middle East. Jewish community. Have you ever seen this one? This blows me away. The Jewish community, whatever that meant, whether it's your faith or your, I don't know. My favorite is the Jewish friends of mine who were atheists. Okay. I'm a Catholic atheist. You are? Okay. I'm a Jew for Jesus. Jewish might describe your parents were Jewish, or I don't know. Anyway, maybe what, 2% of the population here, maybe 0.5% worldwide. Who knows? The number of Nobel laureates. Have you seen this one? Dear God, what the hell is that all about? Wow. I don't want to look at that. Wait a minute. What? Just the numbers. How did you have that happen? Anybody want to talk about that? Nope. Sorry. Not interested. But instead, I want to talk about, you see what Kamala says? You see, we didn't start off from the same place. They didn't start off from the same place. Well, I know that's different. That's the issue. Here is it. Uncle Lenny for president. Number 1, discrimination stops now. You hear me? Everybody, good. That means discriminating against you because you've been discriminated against before. We are sorry. We will do everything we can to correct this now, but we are not going to take you and dump you here because of something that happened then. You're going to have to earn it. We might have programs. But we are not going to continue this slavery where we're saying that, don't worry, we'll just give this to you because you're Black people. You're not the same. Oh, yes, you are the same. And you're smart and you're talented and you're going to do it. And we're going to do everything in our power to stop this. And the first thing you got to do is you got to get rid of these Eric Michael Dysons who spend their poverty pimps and racial arsonists who spend their entire life telling you it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's those people. I've never seen anything like this. You know how we had the Olympics recently? What if somebody said, excuse me? Yes. Hi, pardon me. Can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah. Who are you? I won the gold medal. Yeah, not so fast there, Sparky. Come here. Give me your gold medal. Now listen. You had a lot of time, didn't you? Didn't you go to that Bela? Who are you? Biles? Simone Biles? Yeah. You're very good at this. You're arguably the best gymnast anybody's ever seen. But let's be honest. Yeah, I know you're Black and I mean, but you had some, you went to the Bela Karolyi camp. You've had all these special training. You've had trainers. You even have a person to wrap your feet and your legs. You've got saunas. You've got trainers. You've got, now, come here. You see this Hortensia here? She's from Uruguay. Yeah. She came in, what, honey, was that? 105th. Now, she didn't start off the same level you did. You see, we want to have equity in the Olympics. So guess what? Give me your gold. I'm giving it to you because you deserve it. Let's see how far that goes up. Not Michael Jordan. LeBron James, come here. Listen, you were blessed with something we didn't. You had height and talent and stamina and strength. Is that fair? How are we going to end up at the end? Wait a minute, excuse me. Who wants to end up at the same place? Oh, Kamala does. Why? Well, that's what my speech says. I want to end up at the same place. You want to end up at the same place? Yeah, man. That ain't communism. That's communism to say, what's that about? I don't know. That's not what that means. This is called destroying competition. Destroying everything. And I can't wait. And you know what I want to do? I can't wait to these, and these people drive me crazy. The white, you heard me, the white, liberal, Ivy League, the people that live in the gated community, and they drive the Range Rover, and they've got that, Black Lives Matter sign, the ones who had trust the science, and they've got their live-in off the books nanny. You know that story. Yeah. I can't wait till they come in and say, we don't think you need 3 acres. We've now passed a zoning law that says you've got to give this up. This is per se unconstitutional or against the law because of this new equity. And we're going to put in right in the middle, low income housing. Oh, you will love it. Wait till you see. And these are such wonderful folks who are going to take care of everything. Everything. They're going to enjoy this because people oftentimes take the best care of something that's handed to them. You know the expression, you don't wash a rental car. Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival says, the beauty of all this is the government, keeps us divided. They are playing their magic trick in plain sight, and nobody sees it. It's not until there's a major event like truckers' convoy or flooding until people wake up. So true. So absolutely true. And thank you for that kindness. Look what else they want to do. They want to do so much other stuff that makes absolutely no sense. And why, I have no idea. Please explain to me this notion, this lunacy involving genders. Christian Janus says, how high would the buildings have to be for everyone to end up with a Central Park view? That's interesting. In fact, it turns out you really don't want that. That's all I want to say. But thank you, sir. See, it's not just here. It's this, look at what they want to do. Look at what this new version is. They want this. They want to destroy carbon footprints or whatever it is until whatever this thing is. They want to destroy carbon whatever. They want to mandate electric cars. Mandate electric cars. They want to mandate, or they're going to kill brick and mortar schools. Guaranteed. We had a guy, de Blasio, who destroyed. If this guy ain't what you would call a commie, I mean, ideally, I think he would love this, but he wanted to destroy. We had 2 schools here: Bronx School of Science and Stuyvesant High School. These were the preeminent schools where tomorrow's great scientists go. And he wanted to destroy that because there were too many Asians. I wonder how that Asian affirmative action case went. Now you've got a group of people. You're going to love this one. You got a bunch of people who want to make the utterance of anti-Semitic ideology against the law. Let's see how that goes against, this is great. Let's see how that goes against Kamala Harris. Remember, there's a fracture here. And as I started off, you're going to see a bye-bye of Tiffany Henyard. Goodbye. Sweep her under the... Goodbye, Tiffany. Go home. Go away. Don't utter a word. We'll take care of this. Go away. Or maybe, who knows? I don't wish her any harm, but she has caused more attention. Fannie Willis, you did it too. Because you're a part of this thing, of this corruption, this political corruption, and we want you to go bye-bye. Do you understand that? Edith Crowley says, burnt earth policy, metaphorically speaking. Yes, scorched earth. Oh, absolutely. Slash and leave them destitute with the power and the ferocity of your momentum. Now, let me explain to you. Yesterday's speech, already over. She did it on a Friday. She should have done it on a Monday. She has no idea what she's doing. Did you see the actual turnout of this? No. Now is the time for Trump to turn on the afterburners. Now it's time for him to understand what's going on and go really hard and really deep. That's all I'm saying. Raul Rodriguez says, Chappelle bought 52 acres, Yellow Springs, Ohio. Well, there you go. The last people in the world, see this idea of giving people, disincentivizing people by handing it out. But here's the best part. Black America has no idea what illegals have been given. Nothing. They can't believe this level of not charity, but inequity, if you want. In any event. All right, dear friends. Thank you. Now listen, I want you to do me a great favor. Make sure you follow Mrs. L, Lynn's Warriors. Tonight, she's going to do a special super duper Saturday Night Live on her channel. And it's worth the price of admission, I promise you. Lynn'sWarriors.com. Let me give you this. This is here we go. This is the link. Just click on this and you will be there. She did a piece on Matthew Perry, as did I. Don't you love the way Matthew Perry all of a sudden they say, oh, we're going to go to the bottom of who killed Matthew Perry. What about fentanyl? What about Big Pharma? What about that? Wow, we'll get to that later. Oh, whoa. What? Nobody cares about that. Now, is that communism or is that socialism? Incredible. Do yourself a favor today, my friends. You have a thing called YouTube. Wonderful. Google, what's the difference between communism and so I got thousands of lectures. And listen to what a Marxist or a communist says. Don't let somebody tell you who's not a communist. Listen to what people say. Listen to what they say. Listen to their words as to how that works out. You've got the power. You don't need me. You don't need anybody. You're an autodidact. You're self-taught. You can learn anything you want. We're on the same team here. Remember that. Let's call it the right thing. That's all. All right, dear friends. Don't forget, follow Lynn's Warriors. Also, Lionel Nation. Make sure you remain subscribed. Make sure you do. And also, Lionel Legal. All right, dear friends. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, videos dropping in the middle and during the other parts of the day. In fact, if you're a Lionel Nation member, you get first dibs. In any event, have a great and a glorious day. See you tonight at 7. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.